Hey everybody, my name is Rydo, and today we start a series of a point-click adventure game called The Silent Age. Because we recently covered a game called The Broken Age. I don't think there's any real connection other than that, but I figured, heck, they both have age in the name. That's as good of a transition as I could probably find. So the first thing jumping into The Silent Age I've realized is this is probably created more for the iPad than for a uh, PC game. That probably won't affect too much, but at the very beginning it did tell me play with headphones. Not very many people play with headphones in a PC game. That's very much like a cell phone or an iPad type thing. And it's really weird that they tell you to play with headphones. So that means they are proud of their audio, and that's good. But when we click here to start, it's just kind of throwing us into the game. I mean, it also asked us the language. So here we're playing with UK English. I guess that's fine by me. Um, but there's no volume control. There's no options here. So again, feels maybe like an iPad where the volume control would be either in the system integrated, a lot easier to manipulate. Personally, in Windows, yes, you can find the volume mixer, and I did have to turn it down quite a lot to balance the way my recording works, but uh, it's certainly not in the game, and I like to see those options in the game. I like to see those options broken up between music, sound effects, and all of that. It doesn't really need to be that way, though. A master volume on games is probably fine, because if you want your sound effects to always be a little bit louder than your music, that can be an artistic creation. Alright, I don't know anything about the story, so let's just start. I do think this is probably going to be a pretty short game if credits are number 11 and we're starting on number 1. The present, it looks like just another Tuesday as Joe sweeps down the floors of the anonymous cold office hallways. Then he notices this note, a meeting with the brass. Little does he know that today is about to take a very dramatic turn. So let's start. Nice little effect. Walking off to the side. 1965. Now I think the Steam has voice acting and the uh, iPad version didn't, if I was recalling correctly. 1968. Okay, so he was painting the outside of a boat before, and in 68 wars started, but was he included in the... I mean, how can you be in the Navy and then become a rifleman? 1969. And now he's just a sign spinner, which I don't know if there really were that many sign spinners in 1969. They've recently, in 2016, at least where I am, come into fashion, and they look like horrible jobs. And then 19, I missed the date, he's a floor sweeper. So maybe he worked in the naval industry and painted a boat, but wasn't in the Navy. So he was either a non-enlisted service personnel, or maybe he just worked in boats and wasn't Navy at all. Though that that could have been a shipping container, I guess, maybe. Anyway, so there's our little uh, background of this guy. He seems like kind of a typical everyday man. Had a hard time during that time, like everybody else. What does this do? And what does this do? Oh, I hope I can get back there. Yeah. So pause and continue and restart. So you could tell this animation style is certainly going for a different thing. I've played so many Telltale point and click adventure games that are these cartoony things. I've played so many. Uh, so I played Broken Age, which was cartoony and aimed at, let's see, it's my office, it says so in permanent, what did that say? Marker right underneath the supply room. So his office is just this. This is a blue access card reader for the blue elevator. This card reader company keeps tight security, that's why I always keep my card in a place when nobody ever comes. What does this sign say? All the interactions, 23rd floor office, it's top management floor where Mr. Hill's office is. Uh, Ironically, as kind of a janitorial service, he probably does have access to the entire building a lot more than anyone else. Even if you're running rather tight security, very few companies on a day-to-day basis would have a separate high-level security janitor for high-level security areas, or have a security guard follow him as he was doing that. Sometimes they'll lock offices. 2,000 pounds maximum clearance level 5. No exit from the science labs 2 or 3 prior to decontamination. And this is the red access card reader. I use flat cards instead of keys. The company is full of modern technology like that. Yeah, it's a pretty modern technology for the time. So far, so good. Look, they didn't even make a mistake here, I think, by putting just a post-it. I'm not sure post-its were available back then. So it's a note taped to the wall. There's a sticky note near the door. It says, Joe Hill, Mr. Hill wants to see you, Frank. So not a lot to interact with, and no different types of interaction. But yeah, I want to get back to the art style. This is like an adult in a situation. Not a kid, not a teenager. So often in video games, they pander that way because they assume I should get some light here before I break anything. Let's take this light bulb. Then our inventory is right down here. It even says broken light bulb, so I guess we could try and turn it on. No light, I should change the bulb. Now, of course, slight danger here. You don't know if you just turned it on or you just turned it off. One would assume if the light bulb was broken and you left it on, that it was on, you pulled it once to turn it off. Let's see, Employee of the Month plaque. It's my award. I got it for helping out one of the lab assistants downstairs after he mishandled some barrels, and I agreed to keep them here. The award ceremony was sort of unofficial, so I was told to keep the plaque in my office so no one would get in trouble. I kind of wish I was voice acting in these interactions, but that's still not terrible. Here, we'll take some rubber gloves, probably need that. It's one of those thick rubber gloves used for cleaning things in the labs. Can't take the borax, citric acid, eye wash, bleach, and hand soap. Some of the labels are peeled off, but I keep them in alphabetical order, so that's okay. Yeah, he seems like he's a little bit mentally suppressed here. Like, hazardous barrels just hidden in your closet. Who knows what it's poisoning. These barrels were brought here about a year ago. I don't mind them. I have plenty of space and they hardly smell at all. That chair? It's a good chair. It's where Frank sits. He's been here a good deal longer than I have, so he has privileges. Coffee table. So we got the blue card. I thought I was going to mention, I found this out back last year summer, probably perfectly good table just left out in the rain. I think I got that baby cleaned up real good and installed it in here. It's my chair. Frank has the good one. So yeah, and then there's some pictures on the wall that are missing. Ooh, but no mention of that. Yeah, he seems a little mentally deficient here, and yet he's the guy, and this is probably pretty typical. He's the guy they have cleaning the entire building. Him and Frank. Let's go ahead and use the wrong access key and the wrong reader. This one only takes red card. How it tells the difference, I never know. Look, they're just punch card codes too. So yeah, that seems in line with the technology. Uh, One would think that if you can get to the management office, you would also be able to get uh, to the laboratories, but they may just give 2 cards to everybody. That's not unrealistic. So to the next area. Yep, this one strikes me as it's not going to be a super long game at this rate. Maybe this was one of these only one person worked on it, or a couple people. I could tell that. Let's look at the modern art. Title leads into it, must be French. What's this one say? Title leads the Gestalt of Saturn Veiled. Just looks like a couple bizarre colored boxes to me. Archon. The Archon National Defense Services. So, yeah, it would make sense that Defense Services place hires a vet. Let's look at the plant. Always look at the plant. I'm gonna call him Chuck. That's a reference to another point-and-click adventure game. It's a common rhododendron. I'm not a botanist or anything. Gosh, man, that is too fast, and no way to slow it down. This one's fine. I watered it just yesterday. I can't even get it, but I used to have one at home that came with a little name tag. Wow. So ashtray. Just grab the ashtray and clean it for while she's using it. Looks like someone dumped an urn in there. I could have sworn I emptied it this morning. Trash can. Trash can is almost full. I'll empty it later. And nothing else. You can tell it's in the past. You're smoking in an office. It's a common rhododendron. I'm not about. Yeah, it's the same response for both plants. Padded leather door. Let's talk to the secretary. Yeah, there is dialogue.
Oh, there you are, sweetie. Mr. Hill's expecting you. Just walk right in. What's the matter, sugar? Cat got your tongue? Just get your hiney in there.
So, yeah, it's good they voiced this, but it feels kind of like a half job if you're going to voice conversations and then have me have to read this quickly moving text for everything else I click on. It's Gloria, Mr. Hill's secretary, Goldie among the higher-ups, Miss Gullet to me. Gullet? You don't just walk up and talk to a fine lady like that without having anything to say. It'd be suicide. You'd need topics and hours of rehearsal. Yeah, I'll just stand here casually and wait for her to notice me. Okay, so several responses. That's cool. I feel like the cursor's getting in the way a lot too. Like, because it has that after effect. After you click on something, company performance charts, everything's going up. That's good. Probably because of the war. And then world clocks. See? I'm thinking of installing some more clocks myself. Add a bit of class to my office. Yeah, that fade effect, I don't like it at all. I have no idea what this graph represents, but whatever it is, it seems to be going up. Yeah, I'm just having to make up the end of it. Seems to be going well. Man. Here's a picture of Nixon. I assume the plants are all gonna be the same thing. There are achievements in this for Steam, so uh, I've never been one for heights, but behind the thick walls of so he's looking out the window now. It's just my job to clean the smudges. I'm leaving. Yeah, I'm not even getting this dialogue because it's so fast. I've never been one for heights, but behind the thick glass wall, I appreciate the view. Yeah, I don't even think I mumbled through half of that. It's a remarkably stern-looking plant. Alright. Window. That's close enough. I'm not afraid that the glass will fall out or anything. It's just that it's my job to clean the smudges. I'm leaving. So he doesn't want to touch the glass. It's no. So 2 responses there. Picture of Nixon. It's our president, Honest Richard, I call him. I think it will catch on. So this is before Watergate scandal. There'd been a joke there. Ashtray. Even the ashtray looks expensive. So probably the right time frame to have 50 stars, and that looks like that would be 50 stars on there. But the flag part is really big, the blue part versus the red and white stripes. Took a little artistic license on it. One nation under God, which may have been, yeah, that was the US motto that was added right about that time. Before then it wasn't. It's very big stars and stripes. At this size, I feel I should be even prouder. One nation under God. Still a current US motto, but it wasn't for a long, long time. It wasn't originally. So, the red phone and the plant. Let's look at the plant. I'm looking at all the plants, thinking there's an achievement. It's a remarkably stern-looking plant. Let's play at the phone. You can usually tell success by the amount of phones kept on their desk. I don't have a desk. Always wondered who was on the other end of that red phone, but I never dare pick it up. Frank says he knows, but if he told me, he'd have to kill me. Okay, so 2 responses there. Now let's just talk to Mr. Hill. No more things to click on.
Ah, Jasper.
It's Joe, sir.
Average Joe.
How long is it that you've been with this company, Joseph?
About 2 years, sir.
Ah, yes. Then by now you must know that what we do here is very important. National security may be just a word to most people, Jasper, but for men like you and I, it means so much more. We see the people behind those words. We understand that it means the safety of every citizen in this country, not to mention the shareholders, the hard-working clerks and stakeholders at the government funding agencies. It also means a lot of pressure. A lot. And some men just buckle. Which brings me to the main point of my agenda. A position just opened up, and we're promoting you, Jasper.
Sir?
Really? I thought he was gonna fire him.
The company doesn't notice its hard-working employees. We reward achievement in this organization, young man. And you just made yourself a gold star. This means that from now on, you will be in charge of not only yours, but Frank's assignments too.
Oh, they
That's
fired
right.
Frank.
That means downstairs lab sanitation, drain assignments, the works, with all the clearance that entails. That's a lot of responsibility we're investing in you, Jasper.
I thank you, sir. But what about Frank?
I know you made a great team, but Frank decided to pursue a different career path this morning. We wish him all the best. Oh, and of course you understand that we won't be able to present you with a fancy title or a measurable pay raise. This is a modern company, you understand. We like to keep a flat organizational structure here.
I
So congratulations, Jasper. I bet you must be very excited to get back to work with all your new responsibilities. That's perfectly understandable. I won't keep you a minute longer. Here's your key card.
So yeah, they either killed or fired Jasper, and now I have to do twice as much work for the same amount of pay. I would say they probably would give him a raise. Uh, Being in the military industrial complex pays quite well, so even the janitors, I imagine, would get. You'd want to pay him at least, for security reasons only, you'd want to pay him more than an average janitor so that they would be loyal to the company. Just buy that loyalty straight up. So, was this all of Joe's stuff? Can I go sit in this chair? Hmm. I mean, Frank's stuff. Yeah, no new response there. It's an interesting walk mechanic. Feels like it's been animated by hand or by computer at a very smooth frame rate. These look like maybe bell-bottom pants. Look how high his pants are too. That's so 60s. And yeah, he is the walking image of somebody I'd expect from the 60s, 70s. So now we can go down here. So a drop of blood. Looks like blood. Maybe somebody cut themselves or a lab animal got loose or something. Either way, I'll be the one mopping up this time. So he wasn't doing any of the lab work. It's a tinfoil hat. Nice one too. I wonder if what a tinfoil hat is doing here. Frank used to tell stories about activist break-ins. Some of them would wear homemade protection like this, but there hasn't been a break-in since the new security system was installed. So that's interesting. The blood is probably from some escaped lab animal. Frank tells me it usually followed by lots of people in big transparent suits coming in to hose the whole floor with chemicals. Looks like blood. Maybe somebody cut themselves. So do we use this on the blood? I should probably get a mop instead. How about this on this? I better leave it. Somebody might come back and look for it. So door button or elevator roof hatch. Weird the hatch is open, but I don't remember hearing anything about an inspection or repairs being done today. I'm not unhappy with my height, but I'm no Gary Cooper. I can't reach it even if I jump. Not sure why would I go up there anyways. So let's just hit the door button. So we'll be back here to the sub-basement labs. Now the question is, these must be some pretty safe labs if the management are going to be in the same building as them. Or maybe the management's just not that smart. Generally speaking, if there was some toxic chemicals or anything like that, I would not want to be at the top of that building. The data screen is bigger than my TV. Reminds me of that Pong machine they just got down at Izzy's. The thing's amazing. I've been down there almost every night after hours since they set it up. Frank says it'll fry my brain, but I think it works just fine. I think his brain's already a little fried. The screen is huge. Must cost a fortune. There's a lot of clicking and humming coming from the inside, so I wonder what it's calculating. So I'm just clicking on everything 3 times. Nothing's on. The data screen is bigger. You either get 3 responses or 2 responses. A little inconsistent there, but not terrible. What it is going to end up doing, though, is if you get 3 different responses, sometimes you're going to end up clicking on a lot of things that only give you 2 responses. It's going to be annoying. Dials. I took over for Frank during sick day about a year ago. My sleeve snagged one of these things and they closed down the labs for the day. I really don't want to repeat last year's incident. So, like, that's a 2 response and no indication that it's done. All of this needs to be voice though. It's a big computer thing. I'm not sure what it's for. I better leave it alone. So far, I'm not seeing why they said use headphones. Uh, to get back to that, like for PC games, it shouldn't be use headphones. We should try to push people to plug their computers into surround sound amps, 5.1, 6.1, 7.1, or more, Dolby Digital, DTS stuff. Most houses don't even have that on their TVs, and adoption is really, really low because most people don't care, sadly. But video games can certainly give a better surround experience sometimes than movies, even because you move around in the game yourself and thus are controlling the experience. But just stereo headphones is probably not the right thing. So I should stop looking in there. It really messes with my head. The glass is toned, but it looks like a bunch of containers with tubes sticking out. It's almost like coffins in there, rows and rows of coffins. Oh, you're being paranoid, Joe. No more Twilight Zone and coffee after midnight. Here we've got blood trail. This is no case of nosebleeds. It looks serious. I've got to show this to someone. I really should notify someone about this. I need proof of this time. Though, after that stupid Halloween prank the lab guys pulled on me last year, nobody's gonna believe me unless I have something to show for it. Tipped over trash can. Frank must have left in a hurry. I can't imagine he would leave a mess like this. See, what's going on here? Was there the accident like seconds after I got promoted? Why would they send me down here if they knew that somebody had gotten killed and there was a huge mess? I mean, it just seems silly. Access panel's broken. I'm not much of an engineer, but it seems something seems to be attached by 2 wires that clearly don't belong there. I could remove it and put the panel back in place if I had something to protect my hands. So if something's put between the 2 wires to force the door to open, then why is the door closed? Label says the keypad says cryogenics. It's locked. I don't have any more keys. Anyways. Well, it looks like I have my work cut out for me for today. Is there anything else? Not really, so let's use this on this. But like he said, he's not an engineer. It's not his job to fix doors. And that would be somebody else. He's just a janitor as far as I can tell. You wouldn't make the janitor also be your door panel engineer. If the technology is so simple that Joe here can figure it out, then probably anybody can figure it out. And maybe Frank did figure it out. Let's see. So he just pushes a button and that one opens. Interesting. So through the door we go. Take a lab coat. Something fell out of the coat, looks like a handkerchief. And I can't even click on the coat again. Interesting. Maybe that's the right way to do some of this stuff, is just after I click on it a couple times you're not able to click on it anymore. That would certainly help with point-click adventures. Why all of a sudden is the screen a little bit square, too? Looks like something right out of a science fiction movie. It shows a weird rotating ball and a bunch of warning messages. Let's see. Polaris 9 supercomputer. Polaris 5 Lodestar coprocessor. Left door button, right door button. Let's see. He's pushing buttons like this. Like crazy. Note to self, don't touch anything. Good idea. Okay, Joe, it wasn't your fault. It was like this when you got here. Just back up slowly and walk away. And he does it again. Let's go hit this one. It's a very expensive data processing unit. It doesn't actually say expensive, but I think it's a fair guess. The warning signs caution, keep away from liquid materials. I'm a bit sweaty. I should keep away from that. So we've got this blood trail going right here. Management needs to know about this. I need proof this time, ever since the Halloween thing. And I can't hit both the door buttons. He said far out loud. Interesting. It's one of those doors where two people have to turn keys at the same time to open it. It's like something out of... My arms aren't long enough to push both buttons at the same time. I guess that's the point. I need something that holds the other button down, or something, now that that's using the old Noodle Joe.
Far out?
It's something out of a secret agent movie. Only the one uses keys. This one doesn't use keys, just buttons. Alright, so we know we're supposed to use this on the blood trail. Handkerchief soaked up some of the blood. I need to get this to management. So finally the music cuts in. Same response for both of the buttons. So dutifully, I mean, we'll do what a normal person would do instead of an adventure person, and we'll go hit the button. We'll go tell management. Now, I'm definitely in a weird position as far as time. It could be that in the next 5 minutes, this first section is done. It could be that in the next 30 minutes, this first section is done. I doubt it's much more than that. And I do want to keep these relatively short episodes. So, this first section will be the determiner. I may play for an hour to do the first section, and then I'd do probably an hour for all the other sections. Or if I find that it is close to 45 minutes to do one, I'll stick with that. Pretty much I'd really like to keep all of them together. If there's 10 sections, I would like to have 10 episodes at the end, or 11 with the credits. But we'll probably put the credits at the end.
Miss Goulet?
Goulet?
Something's bad. The downstairs handkerchief has basement all over the blood. No, I mean...
Good heavens, Sugar. That rag's got blood all over. Have you hurt yourself again?
No, it's...
We keep telling you boys to follow company safety policy. I send out memos almost every week. I honestly don't know why I bother sometimes. You may look like capable grown men in those boiler suits, but you're really just big boys, ain't you?
But I'm not the one who...
No need to explain. Let me just take care of that for you. Now, let's see what Gloria has for you here. Ooh, nice clean band-aid. Just go wash up and put that on. You'll be as good as new.
But
Now run along, you little scamp.
She's a nice person, I guess, but not not really listening. Way to go, Joe. After that performance, she probably thinks you're retarded or something. Better go back to lab and find out more before making a bigger tool of yourself. Nice directing. Honestly, I kind of thought he was retarded too. I uh, I said it a lot quicker than he said it, and uh, it's hard to tell too. Though I mean, people in the '60s compared to people in 2016 know like completely different things that aren't really relevant to modern times. So they could probably tell you how to farm uh, and grow crops and deal with a lot of things that we don't even think about, like how to set up an antenna to receive TV that way. That's not something that most people would do in 2016. Uh, but of course, they can't tell you anything about how to use a computer or any of stuff like that. How to play a video game, they would know nothing. And so uh, the two overlapping circles as the years go by become further and further apart to the point where they'll no longer overlap at all. And so people from the past will seem unknowledgeable about by modern comparison. So we've got this band-aid and it seems pretty obvious what we're going to do here. That should hold the button down with the band-aid. That is way too uh, easily defeated of a security system. Way too easy, but whatever. I mean, there was a lock on the door already, though. So if the door's gonna be unlocked, there's no security to this room anyways. Let's walk through here. Is this somebody we know? This is probably gonna be the end of this act. Monitor doesn't look like it's tuned to any station. I really should worry about the bleeding old man. Any other time I'd gladly stand around and space out and stuff like that, but it's a bit of an emergency here. Come on, hit the console. The man needs my help. I don't have time for this. Sure we do. It's a computer something, I guess. I really don't have time for this. It's a modern wonder, alright. One day I'll probably play the perfect game of checkers. This man needs my help. I don't have time for this. Alright, let's talk to the injured man.
Mister, are you all right? You're bleeding. Huh, that's a lot of blood. Stay right here. I'll go get help.
No! Don't get anyone. Are you alone?
Yes?
I'm not sure what...
I asked you a question. Are you alone?
I think in a lot of ways, yes he is.
I came down here by myself.
Good enough. Listen, I'm shot bad. I don't have a lot of time, but I'm also not important. At least this version of me isn't. What's important is that you understand what I am about to tell you now.
And he's not gonna understand. I'm not gonna understand.
Should I be writing this down? I don't have anything to write with.
Shut up and pay attention! You're standing on the brink of an extinction-level event, set in motion by greedy half-wits that will eventually end the lives of every man, woman, and child on the planet. I know this because I'm partially to blame. And though I realized our folly in time, less sane and more senior heads prevailed. I have arrived from 40 years into the future to prevent it from happening.
So
Things
40
are
years.
obviously vastly more complex than this.
That's about
For
2009.
lack of time to explain this properly to an insufficiently primed recipient intellect, I am what you would probably perceive as a time traveler.
Mister, you've obviously lost a lot of blood.
Quiet! I have planned this out in every detail for the better part of my life. And I'll be damned if I will let it fail because of a single gun-toting, overachieving parking attendant who wasn't where he was supposed to be at this point in time. Thankfully, you look fleeceable enough to be coaxed into performing one simple task for me. I want you to find me and tell me about this event before I depart for the past. You'll need this.
What is this?
It is a portable, interdimensional planar membrane chronosync instrument.
A pip
It's a
imp.
goddamn time machine, okay? For reasons you'll quickly come to realize. The device runs on solar rechargeable batteries. Despite this, I want you to keep it hidden until you're out of town. Don't let anyone see you with it, especially in here.
Mister, between the blood and all this space talk, you're making me quite dizzy. I'm not sure how I can help you other than by calling security and getting you to an ambulance.
Just take the damn device and find me. You find me, you hear? Go. Go.
Mister? Mister?
So my response to this, no, 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 I think he's dead. Oh God, I
Help!
don't.
Help! I need help in here!
It's like I do what he says, but I'd also.
Stay right there, sir.
Listen, you gotta help me. There's a guy in there. There's a lot of blood. He needs help.
I said, stay right there.
But I work here. You know me.
Keep your hands where I can see them. Palms flat against the wall. Spread your legs. The police are on their way.
Police. So they're gonna say I killed him? I don't even have a gun. Chapter 2, the future.
Look, I don't want to be unreasonable here.
So, let's hit the pause button and we'll restart the future in the next recording. So, not too bad. We'll do about 45-minute episodes. Chapter 1 was the present. Chapter 2 is the future. Obviously, the Silent Age is going to involve moving around through time a little bit and figuring out what's going on in this mysterious turn of events. So far, we're not super into the story, so we'll have to learn a lot more. Anywho, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like my video, share it with your friends, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps me out. If you want to support me even further than that, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. Also, by clicking on my name, Rydo, that takes you to my main YouTube page, if I didn't say that. There's a playlist tab. You can click that and see a playlist for every single style, every single game I've ever covered. And then down below in the description box, I have a link to Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr and Google Plus and Steam and Battle.net, so you can friend and follow me on all of those services. That helps me out a lot too. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.